Chapter 6. The next day, I woke up early. Roman was already up and was standing by the window looking out. I got up and walked to his side. "What are you looking at?" Roman said, "It's snowing." I looked out the window and saw that it was indeed snowing. Snowflakes were falling from the sky, covering the entire forest in silver. I exclaimed, "It's so beautiful." Roman nodded. "Yes." We stood by the window for a while watching the snow before going downstairs to have breakfast. Mrs. Hale and Margaret were already in the dining room. Margaret saw us and smiled apologetically. "I'm sorry for causing you trouble last night." I smiled. "It's okay, you're safe now." Margaret said, "I was really drunk last night and don't remember anything." Mrs. Hale said, "You have to be more careful next time. Don't drink so much." Margaret nodded. "I know, Auntie." We sat down and started having breakfast. During breakfast, Mrs. Hale said to Roman, "Cassian, I have something to discuss with you." Roman said, "What is it?" Mrs. Hale said, "I want to transfer some of the company's shares to Margaret." Roman frowned. "Why?" Mrs. Hale said, "Margaret is already an adult. I want to give her some shares as a birthday present." Roman said, "The company's shares are not a toy. You can't just give them away." Mrs. Hale said, "I know, but Margaret is family. It's only right to give her some shares." Roman said, "I need to think about it." Mrs. Hale was a bit unhappy. "What's there to think about? I've already decided." Roman said, "Mom, this is not a small matter. I need to consider it carefully." Mrs. Hale was about to say something else when Margaret suddenly spoke up. "Auntie, forget it. I don't want the shares." Mrs. Hale said, "Why don't you want them? This is what you deserve." Margaret said, "I know you mean well, but I really don't want the shares. I'm not interested in the company's business." Mrs. Hale sighed. "All right, since you don't want it, I won't force you." Margaret smiled.
"Thank you, Auntie."
After breakfast, Roman and I prepared to return. Mrs. Hale saw us off at the door. "Come back often when you have time." Roman nodded. "Okay." Margaret waved to us. "Goodbye, cousin, sister-in-law." I smiled. "Goodbye." We got in the car and drove back. On the way, I asked Roman, "Why didn't you agree to transfer the shares to Margaret?" Roman said, "The company's shares are not a joke. If transferred improperly, it could affect the company's operations." I said, "But Mrs. Hale is your mother. She wouldn't harm the company, right?" Roman said, "It's not that simple. There are many people in the family eyeing the company's shares. If we transfer shares to Margaret rashly, it might cause unnecessary trouble." I nodded. "I see." Roman said, "Moreover, I feel that Margaret doesn't really want the shares." I was surprised. "Why do you say that?" Roman said, "Intuition." I smiled. "Your intuition is quite accurate." Roman glanced at me. "You seem to be in a good mood." I said, "Yeah, after all, we survived another day." Roman chuckled. "That's true." We chatted and laughed along the way, and soon we arrived home. As soon as we got home, the housekeeper came up to us. "Mr. Hale, Mrs. Hale, there is a guest here." Roman asked, "Who is it?" The housekeeper said, "It's Mr. Johnson." Roman frowned. "Why is he here?" I asked, "Who is Mr. Johnson?" Roman said, "A business partner." I said, "Then go meet him." Roman nodded and walked towards the living room. I followed behind him. In the living room, A man in his 40s was sitting on the sofa. He was wearing a suit and leather shoes, with a shrewd look on his face. When he saw Roman, he immediately stood up and smiled. "Mr. Hale, long time no see." Roman nodded. "Mr. Johnson, what brings you here?" Mr. Johnson said, "I'm here to discuss a business deal with you." Roman said, "What business?" Mr. Johnson said, "It's about the new project in the city center. I heard you're very interested in this project." Roman said, "Yes, but I heard that your company is also very interested." Mr. Johnson smiled. "That's right, so I came to discuss it with you. Why don't we cooperate?" Roman said, "How do you want to cooperate?" Mr. Johnson said, "Simple. Your company is responsible for funding, and my company is responsible for construction. The profits will be split 50-50. Roman said, "That doesn't sound fair." Mr. Johnson said, "How is it unfair? Your company provides the funding, and my company provides the technology. It's a perfect match." Roman said, "But the risks are all on my side." Mr. Johnson said, "Business always involves risks. If you're not even willing to take risks, how can you make money?" Roman said, "I need to think about it." Mr. Johnson said, "All right, I'll give you 3 days to consider. If you agree, contact me at any time." Roman nodded. "Okay." Mr. Johnson stood up. "Then I won't disturb you any longer. Goodbye." Roman said, "Goodbye." Mr. Johnson turned and left. I walked to Roman's side. "What do you think?" Roman said, "This person is not trustworthy." I said, "Then you're not going to cooperate with him?" Roman said, "Of course not." I said, "But if you don't cooperate with him, he might cause trouble for you." Roman said, "I'm not afraid of him." I smiled. "You're quite confident." Roman said, "Of course." We were talking when the housekeeper came over again. "Mr. Hale, there's a phone call for you." Roman asked, "Who is it?" The housekeeper said, "It's Mr. Thompson." Roman's expression changed slightly. "I'll answer it." He walked to the phone and picked up the receiver. "Hello." I stood to the side, watching Roman's expression grow increasingly serious. After a while, Roman hung up the phone, his face gloomy. I asked, "What's wrong?" Roman said, "Something happened at the company." I asked, "What is it?" Roman said, "I need to go to the company immediately." I said, "I'll go with you." Roman shook his head. "No, you stay at home." I said, "But—" Roman interrupted me. "No buts. Stay at home and don't go anywhere." I had no choice but to nod. "Okay, be careful." Roman nodded, turned, and left. I watched his departing back, feeling uneasy. I had a feeling that something big was about to happen.